The Boeing-built FA-18 Super Hornet is the Navy's premier frontline tactical aircraft. The aircraft performing for you today is the F model, which incorporates a two-place cockpit. The aviators aboard work together as a team in all phases of flight to accomplish the assigned mission. The pilot for today's demonstration is Lieutenant Chris Walker, call sign Chinz. His Rio in the back seat is Marc Garcia, also a lieutenant, call sign Hi-Lo. Together, the pair will experience nearly 8 times the normal force of gravity as they maneuver the aircraft to the edge of its operating envelope. Today's show will be performed at speeds as fast as 700 miles per hour and as slow as 100 miles per hour. Powered by 2 General Electric F414 turbofan engines. Those engines together generate 42,000 pounds of thrust. Let's watch to the left. As the engines are spooled up, the brakes are released, the roll is on as Chinz and Hi-Lo perform the dirty roll on takeoff. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your United States Navy's FA-18 Super Hornet from VFA-106.
That's right, if we were to break the sound barrier, there's a chance that we could shatter windows in the surrounding area. We don't want to do that.
All right, let's see if we can go live to the cockpit. Hello, Hi-Lo. Hello, guys. This is Rob Ryder. Can you hear us?
Hey, Rob, got you loud and clear.
Hi-Lo, you want to call some speeds to the crowd?
Hey, we're up accelerating for 600 knots.
Oh, boy, 660 miles an hour, right, Jeff?
That's right.
650. 700 knots.
Of its speed right there, are we?
That's right. We got a lot more capability than that, but like I said, we just can't go any faster than that, or we'll end up shattering some windows around here.
But in combat, using the afterburners and that 42,000 pounds of thrust gets you into a fight or out of a fight really quickly.
That's right. We will fly that thing to the edge of the envelope if we need to.
What's coming up next?
Next, we're going to see the mid-radius turn to tail stand. Chinz and Hi-Lo are now going to select maximum afterburner, set up for a 9-degree angle of bank turn, hold 7.5 Gs for 360 degrees of turn. At the end of that, you're going to watch as Chinz executes a maximum pull into the vertical, followed by a negative 2 G pushover.
That'll hurt. Ladies and gentlemen, from the left, sustaining over 7 times the force of gravity in this minimum radius turn, this is your United States Navy's FA-18 Super Hornet, the Hornet's new sting.
So in order to get the 50,000-pound FA-18 airborne in less than 250 feet, The Navy's nuclear-powered aircraft carriers use steam-powered catapult systems to accelerate the aircraft from 0 to 165 miles per hour in less than 2 seconds. Taking off is easy compared to trying to land on the boat. During this carrier configuration pass, pay close attention to the tail hook of the aircraft. In order to safely land on an aircraft carrier, the pilot needs to fly the tail hook into a 150 by 70 foot area. In this space, 4 wires are stretched across the flight deck, and the tail hook must catch one of these to decelerate the aircraft from 150 miles per hour to a screeching halt in less than 2 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, here comes the carrier configuration pass. Gear down, flaps extended, and there's the tail hook. Now let's talk a little bit more about the this airplane to turn it on the dime, and I think that's what we're going to demonstrate next.
That's right, this next maneuver is going to be our pitch rate demo. So the Super Hornet will show you its ability to turn on a dime. Watch as Chinz and Hi-Lo approach from the left, rapidly execute 2 high-performance turns, demonstrating the Super Hornet's agility. Few aircraft in the world can match this capability.
About what speed are they coming in right now?
Be just under 300 knots. That's right, as long as we're above quarter airspeed, we can reach the maximum G potential of our aircraft, and that's what we showcase right there.
Now we heard some real noise. The jet engines creating all of that thrust have afterburners, and actually the part of that noise is from the exhaust going supersonic. Not the jet, but the exhaust is. Now they're going to show what good neighbors you guys are, or can be.
That's right, the aircraft is setting up for the inverted whisper pass. Chinz and Hi-Lo are going to approach show center at 500 feet and nearly 400 knots, and they're going to reduce the throttle to idle and roll the aircraft inverted. It's going to take a tremendous amount of concentration to fly upside down while hanging your straps to your harness. Notice how quiet the aircraft is as they pass by.
Just about as quiet as a regional jet, but not near as much fun.
It would be nice to...
Now, we're going to have a combination of maneuverability and noise on this next one, because the Hornet has some great capabilities to fly at very slow speeds and high angles of attack, pulling the nose up above the horizon and with respect to the relative wind, and really get that nose up in the air. And sometimes flying slowly is better than flying fast in air combat maneuvering.
That's right, our incredible slow speed maneuverability of the F-18 helps us considerably in a dogfight.
All right, let's go live again to talk to Hi-Lo and see if he'll call out the speeds. Hey Hi-Lo, it's Robin Pee-wee down here on the ground. How far is the nose pulled up right now, dude?
There, I've got the loud clear, currently 25 degrees shows up.
And you want to call the speeds to the crowd?
Hey, we're going to 120 miles per hour.
120 miles per hour.
110 miles per hour.
110. again, the onset of these heavy Gs. We stand here on Earth weighing 1 G. At 2 Gs, a 200-pound guy is going to weigh 400 pounds. At 7 Gs, a 200-pound guy is going to weigh 1,400 pounds. You got to be in great physical shape to handle that without passing out.
That's right, great shape and lots of experience help us withstand those.
And working out all the time, right? They do a high G turn coming around 350 or 400 miles per hour. Slow down to 275, lower the landing gear and flaps, and now we're going to listen in to what it sounds like as they approach the carrier deck and talking between the landing signal officer, paddles, and the flight crew aboard the Super Hornet. Let's listen in.
Hey Rob, this is Firewalker. Is she on her frequency? Stand by, Firewalker. Stand by.
I was just looking, I took 7 pounds of something. Looks like I have this weird city with a takeoff.
What? 45 knots down the angle.
Yeah, I got all the down and let it go.
26 travel, 3/4 mile. 55 knot ball.
He's coming in.
Called Bolter, Bolter, Bolter. He's going around. Listen to the sound of freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to get your camera phones ready. Hold them sideways, okay? Stand up, hold them sideways. The Super Hornet's going to come around to the right and do a photo pass. And they are going to do a photo pass with all the fire. You got it. Just heard from Sarge Meyer. Cameras on. It'll be just to the left of Show Center as they come by. A high-speed pass and a 1,000-foot wall of fire. We don't want you to miss it. Coming in fast from the right and low, your United States Navy's FA-18 Super Hornet. Hey Sarge, are you still on with us?
We still are. Walking to Oceana. What a great day.
Nice job, sir. Firewalker, Pyro International, Rick Myers and your crew, congratulations for all your work this weekend at the 75th anniversary show, partner.
Oh, what a great show. We're with a great team and all family here at Oceana. We love this place and what a great place to go on. You guys have a great anniversary. We'll see you next year.
You betcha, buddy. Thank you much.
Our ADC, Harold Mack from Detroit, Michigan. AM1, Brian Simona from Clifton, New Jersey.
AD2
Juan Martinez from upstate New York. AD2 Alvin Smith from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. AM2 Ryan Needham from Buffalo, New York. AD2 Joshua Dunn from Ionia, New York. And AME2 Christopher Marvel from Shreveport, Louisiana.
Now from the right, watch again as the Super Hornet approaches on the wing of the F-40 Corsair. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander of Naval Air Forces is proud to present the Navy Takeoff Legacy Flight Demonstration. For over 107 years, naval aviation has not only been at the tip of the spear defending our nation, it's also been at the forefront of technological advances which have made our country great. From the courageous pilots who proved that an aircraft could take off and land from ships at sea, to the naval air crews who are taking the fight to the enemy today, a long legacy of excellence and perseverance proceeds. What you have seen and are witnessing now is dedicated to keeping naval aviation's ties to its proud legacy alive and well. Tailhook Legacy Flight pairs venerable warbirds from our Navy's past with a high-tech weapons system known as the FA-18 Super Hornet. Through these unique and dynamic formation flight demonstrations, we aim to inspire the best and brightest of the next generation of young Americans to join the ranks of naval aviation. In its early years, naval air power played second fiddle to the great dreadnought of the high seas, the battleship. Scouting for enemy ships was the limit of the new aircraft's mission. During World War II, at the battles of the Coral Sea and Midway, projecting power from aircraft carriers shaped the future of naval combat. Through the inspired heroism of a handful of naval aviators, two of the most decisive sea battles of the Pacific War were won. By the end of that conflict, the aircraft carrier and her air wing had replaced the battleship as the dominant weapon of naval warfare. Through the hard work and dedication of private individuals and nonprofits, many of these glorious warbirds are still flying today. The pilots and maintainers play a critical role in keeping the history of naval aviation actively flying for all to see. During the airshow season, several different vintage warbirds participate in tailhook legacy flights. Some are the only flying example of their type in the world today. Cameras ready as they approach from directly in front of us. Mr. Jim Tobul flying the Corsair, and Lieutenant Chris Walker and Lieutenant Marc Garcia flying the Super Hornet. The FA-18 Super Hornet is the premier all-weather strike fighter of today and is expected to remain in service until 2035. The F-40 Corsair, the Korean War hero, was flown and maintained by Jim Tobul of Jackson, Wyoming. It saw over 200 missions in 2 different squadrons from 2 different aircraft carriers. They will set up for an approach from behind us, overhead, and do the legacy break. The Corsair in naval service during World War II racked up an impressive 11-to-1 kill ratio. And in the Korean War, a night fighter version of the Corsair actually shot down a MiG jet fighter. That was in September of 1952, Lieutenant Jesse Fulmer. Ladies and gentlemen, turn with me, if you will, as the Corsair and the Rhino approach for the legacy break.
Ready,
flight demonstration here at Oceana. Thank you, Jim Tobul. Thank you, Chris Walker and Marc Garcia and everyone from VFA-106, the Gladiators demo team, from right here at NAS Oceana. There's another photo opportunity coming. And Jeff, you want to explain how that's going to play out?
If you look to your left, you're going to see the Corsair setting up to land here. We've got the Super Hornet off to your right. They're going to have the Corsair land and roll out, and we'll have the Super Hornet climb off for one final high-speed pass.
On short final, the Corsair out there ready to do his pass. One execution of art which was very, very precise. Way to go, Chinz and Hi-Lo.
Doesn't get much better than that, Rob.
No, it doesn't. On behalf of the commander of Strike Fighter Wing Atlantic and the commanding officer of VFA-106, we would like to thank you for your attention in this terrific demonstration of the capabilities of the F-A-18 Super Hornet and the Tailhook Legacy flight. One more carrier break and coming into land. So many people have been inspired to pursue careers in naval aviation from that 1986 movie Top Gun. As we listen to the Top Gun anthem, some people say it's overused, it's overplayed, it's getting old, it's hackneyed. I don't know, I think it's still inspiring. One of the former Blue Angels leaders, Commander Kevin Mannix, was going to be a surface guy in the Navy, saw the movie Top Gun and decided he wanted to make naval aviation a career. He did that and became the commanding officer and flight leader of the Blue Angels. The F-14 Tomcat, it was the real star of that movie, not Tom Cruise, not Tom Skerritt, not Kelly McGillis, not Anthony Edwards, not Meg Ryan. Nah, it was the venerable Tomcat. That in 2006 did its last demonstration here at NAS Oceana during the show. And less than 2 weeks later, in September of that year, did the Tomcat sunset, where the last of the Tomcats flew. Some are still on display at different airports and museums around the country. But I'm not sure we'll ever see another airplane quite like the Tomcat. But the men and women who fly the Hornet and Super Hornet are carrying that legacy forward into the future. As we see the Rhino roll out, we'll follow it back down past the crowd, and you can give Chinz and Hi-Lo a big round of applause and a wave as they go by. Tail light, the blinker at the top of the tail. A Legacy Hornet blinks single flip, 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 flip. Check the Super Hornet, flipping in 3, and sometimes, Jeff, they flip in 2s. What does a 2-flip Hornet mean? The refueler?
That would be an E-18 Growler.
Ah, the Growler. Naval Aviation had to put a lot of airplanes on a small deck of a carrier. So what have they done since World War II? And today, they still do it. They fold the wings up. And they'll fold them back down. "41-foot wingspan on the F4U Corsair, only about 34 feet long, or 36 feet long. Of the 12,571 Corsairs that were built, only a handful remain flyable today. One of them is being restored now outside Cincinnati, Ohio at the Tri-State War Bird Museum.